Hello, hello, hello. I hope you guys are doing all right out there. It is a great what night is it? It's Wednesday night. All right. So we have some special things planned for us tonight. But first, I want to just welcome you to the show. And for me, a good show is when we get participants. A good show is when we show up and you let me know that you're here. If you're here tonight, I want you to say, I'm here in the chat box tonight. If you are here and you're in the house, let me know where you're coming from. If you're from Mississippi, if you're from Florida, wherever you are from, or if you are in the DFW Metroplex, I want to hear from you. And I also want you to know that I thank you for showing up because you could have gone to any other place, but you've come to Grief, Gray Hairs, and Growth because you understand that grief will happen, but you also understand there's wisdom in the grief. And in addition to that, we do get to grow and we get to heal from the grief. So I don't want to prolong tonight, but I have a special guest tonight. And tonight we're going to talk about trauma, vulnerability, and growth. First of all, I want to pose a question to you. Who knows what it's like to show up strong when you're falling apart on the inside? And I want to give a pause to that. And I want you to raise your hands if you know that's you, if you know you're that person that has tried to come across strong and you know you're really having some difficult times, I want to hear from you. I want to know that you are in this with me and that you have experienced many of the same things. So I'm looking to have some people talk back to me tonight, just like we up in church. I want y'all to talk back to me. And so all we have is the chat box. So talk back to me in the chat box. Okay. So everyone, I want you to drop one word that describes how grief or healing feels for you, like right now, like right this minute. And I want to kind of get an idea, put that in the chat box, because a lot of times we need to have an assessment of where we are so that we can try to propel ourselves to that next destination, which is getting better and understanding ourselves and being honest so that we can go to that next level. So today I have Blaise Harris, who joins us on our Grief, Gray Hairs, and Our Growth. We'll call it a podcast. His work with trauma and healing connects deeply with the heart of what this show and my book is all about. How pain shows up when we least expect it, how healing takes place in vulnerability, and how it never looks glamorous, but we have to go through it. Blaise is also known as the dope Black therapist. He's a former firefighter turned EMDR trained trauma therapist, and he'll tell you a little bit more about that and what that means. He understands firsthand the emotional weight that comes with serving others and how that unspoken pressure to stay strong can break us down over time. So tonight we're having an open, honest conversation about grief, identity, and healing. We'll talk about invisible pain, the kind that sits with you long after the sirens fade or the crowd goes home, and about the courage it takes to name it, to face it, and to grow through it. Because at the end of the day, first responders aren't superheroes. They're people like you and me. They're public servants, they're parents, they're neighbors doing their best to hold it all together, just like the rest of us. So tonight, we're unpacking what it really means to redefine strength, not as silence, but as a willingness to heal out loud. And so I want you to take an opportunity to get your minds right, to get your hearts right, to decide that you're going to be a participant tonight and you're going to engage as much as you can. And I want to hear some of the questions that you may have for Blaise and myself, because I want us to really get a better understanding and get from the place to where we're just learning how to cope, but we're learning how to heal. I love this quote. It says, sometimes the strongest among us are the ones who smile through silent pain, cry behind closed doors, and fight battles nobody knows about. So, with a show of hands, who knows what it's like to show up to be that strong person when you know you're feeling inside? So I want you to kind of use that as your platform. I really want you to think about that. I want you to take a good breath. I want you to breathe with me. Out. I want you to breathe with me once more. And out. Slowly. And sometimes this is probably the biggest or deepest breath that you've had all day long. I'm going to go ahead and bring my special guest on tonight, and I just want to say hello to him and let you guys. Hey, Pam Miller is here in the house. I want to bring my special guest out so that he can be a part of this conversation, and we can just welcome him properly. So as soon as he comes to the screen, we'll get there. All right, there you are, Blaise.
Hey,
what's up, man?
What's going on, Danny? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I tell people all the time, I really love the work that you do. I love your honesty. I love your sincerity. I love the vulnerability, because I often tell people in counseling sessions, it is so important that we model the behaviors for others that we want, that it gives us safety to do those things as well. Mm-hmm. So if I'm holding myself tight like this and I'm not letting my emotions out, or I got to give this stoic face or something like that, it renders itself as this is how I'm supposed to react and respond. And so we put on this great facade about everything. And so I want you to just kind of introduce yourself in your own way, a couple of sentences, however you want to do that. But we just want to hear your voice and tell us a little bit about what you've been doing and what you're up to.
All right. My name is Blaise Harris. I am an EMDR certified therapist and EMDR approved consultant in training. I am an author. I am a father. I'm a speaker. I am a survivor, and it's one of those things that I like to show up in this world the best way that I can. Some days I'm happy go lucky. Other days I'm super sad. Either way, you're going to know what I'm really dealing with, because I'm authentic in who I show up. I put the mask on at times, but I also know how to take it off.
That's good.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of us, we don't allow ourselves to do. We don't allow ourselves the opportunity to take off our mask, because we feel like we have to be a certain way for certain people.
Exactly.
In order for them to feel comfortable,
Exactly. So Blaise, if you're okay, we're going to get into this real quick, but I really do want to kind of open it up a little bit, because I want us to understand that grief is messy, is non-linear. It has no shape or form. It can go up, it can go down, it can be stable, it can be unstable. You can feel like thunderstorms and bright sunny clouds all at the same time. But it is grief. It is grief. And a lot of times I love to talk about this, because a lot of times we take our 5 stages of grief and we run with it. We think we got the magic answer to grief, because we know the 5 stages and we pump ourselves up in that. But Elizabeth Kubler-Ross did not create the 5 stages for the person who is living. It's for the person who is terminal. And oftentimes it gave them a way to help them categorize how they're feeling about what's going on in their lives. So not saying that we can't use it, but don't allow those 5 stages to be your end all be all as to what grief really, really is.
Absolutely.
So Blaise, I want to ask you, how did trauma disrupt your life's rhythm? How did it disrupt your life's rhythm?
Man, that's not an easy question to answer.
I know.
It's like that question. So it has interrupted my life's rhythm in several different ways, and it's not just one thing that really affected me. It's been several things that has popped up, and it affects my life in different ways. Like for instance, going through a divorce and dealing with depression and suicidal ideations and suicide attempts. That is one of those things where, oh my gosh, I have to learn how to function when I don't want to be here. And the pain that I'm experiencing is so severe, it is crippling. It is keeping me in my home. It is not allowing me to get out and interact with people. It is make me feel like I am in a pit of despair and I can't get out of that space. You know, where I'm usually the person who is happy-go-lucky, who's always showing up, who's always the person who's going to motivate people to be better and to be happy and to show up in this space and just be great, you know.
Right.
But when you're battling those those things and you're battling those things alone, yes, it's going to disrupt your life's rhythm, because it's just like, how am I supposed to function? That mask gets extremely heavy.
It gets real heavy. Gets real heavy. And Blaise, one of the things that I really I just want to commend you on, and I think you're saving men in particular, their lives in particular, because oftentimes we've been told that we can't share our truth. We can't share how we feel about different things. But if you go to Blaise's page, he has so much good information, and he's being real. He's being honest. He's being just transparent. And those are the things that we need in our lives. So I ask you, my audience, how does trauma show up, or how has it disrupted your life? Or have you been even able to articulate it? Sometimes we don't even know the words. So I want you to sit with that. So as Blaise was sharing, I want you to think about what stood out for you. And I want to hear about what stood out for you from what he said in the comment box. But as we do that, I want to go back to something that you said. Dealing with suicidal ideation, or sometimes with the intent to complete. Sometimes we don't understand that, and I'm gonna just be honest. Let's just be real. We're not propelling this, but I feel like we all have come to this place to where we just want to give up. I think it's more so, I am so tired of everything that's happening in my life. I can't take one more thing, and if one more thing happens, I'm just going. And I've oftentimes heard this, and I know you've heard it as well in session. Well, if a car were to hit me, I would be okay with that too.
Exactly. Yep.
Sister Good, bruh, that's called suicidal ideation as well. And almost a plan. So we have to be mindful and listen to our neighbors when they're sharing things like that. But let me ask you, how did you get to a place to where you were so comfortable in sharing that it got so low for you and it got so down for you that you had thoughts of suicide?
Ooh, so how did I get to a point where I was comfortable actually addressing it and talking about it? A lot of therapy, bro.
Okay. Come on.
So it took a lot of therapy, but it also took a lot of me working on me. You know, I'm not ashamed to just say, let's see. Okay. So you might not be able to see it, but I got a tattoo of where I cut my wrist as a reminder of not to go back to that place.
Wow. That's real.
Yeah. And so thinking about that, right? So that's a constant reminder of how low it got for me. And I learned how to, when I talk to my therapist who diagnosed me with major depressive disorder, which I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing, much less how to deal with it, much less how to show up in the space to actually be able to talk about it. But when I attended my first group session and I was talking with people who dealt with the same things, who experienced the same things, and who didn't laugh at me, who didn't judge me when I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? It was like one of those things like, okay, so I'm not alone when I'm dealing with this.
Exactly.
But then once I got home and I started talking to other people, especially at the fire department, if I can go through this and people have no idea that I'm dealing with this, right? How many other first responders deal with this exact same thing? How many police, how many firefighters, how many paramedics, how many dispatchers, how many people who work in corrections, how many people who work in corporate, how many people who, how many of those people deal with this on a daily basis and don't share or express or deal with these things? You know what I'm saying? And so I was just like, okay, All right, so I'm a man, a
Mhm.
black man who's
Mhm.
also a first responder who's not allowed to feel, who's not supposed
Mhm.
to feel, who's not supposed to
I'm
let
with.
anything bother.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, if I can go through it, anybody can go through it.
Mhm.
So instead of me hiding this, instead of me ignoring this, what can I do to bring more attention to it and get to a place where it's like, yo,
Mhm.
it's time to do something about it.
Right.
So I got to the point I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this space off. I'm gonna take this space off.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take this mask off. I want you to see everything. You're just seeing the outside. You're not seeing the
Right.
blood and the sweat and the tears and the cuts and the scrapes and everything that's behind this mask.
Right.
So I'm going to put a face on it because depression can look like this.
It is.
It looks just like this, and people have no idea that's what it looks like.
Mhm.
You know, and so I wanted to bring attention to it, and I started talking about it. I was like, yo, this is real.
Mhm.
This can happen to anybody, and it don't care what you look like. It don't
Mhm.
care how much money you got. It doesn't care how many cars you have.
Mhm.
It doesn't care how many women you got, how many men you got. You know, it don't care how much wealth or how much you put into the community.
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
will still jump on your ass and let you know what the deal
Come
is.
on.
I'm here, and you can't do nothing about it.
Can't do nothing about it.
So what I wanted to do was when I started being open and sharing my story, Danny, you probably experienced this yourself.
Mhm.
As soon as you start sharing your story, you'd be surprised at how many people come out the woodworks. And they were like,
Yes.
yo, your story I related so much to that story. I related
Mhm.
so much to that because that was just me. That was me in that space. That was me doing that. That was me living that life. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
that was me going through those same types of things. And
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
it felt good
Mhm.
to hear, especially my brothers and sisters in the fire service. I can't tell you how many
Right.
DMs I got.
Mhm.
Help me out with this. How do I find this person? How do I do this? You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
it's just like, okay, all right. So this is something that needs to be happening. But then
Right.
I started noticing that it started happening more in my community, more along with my
Mhm.
homeboys, more along with my friends. And it's just like,
Mhm.
Blaise, I'm really struggling. What do I need to do?
Right.
And I
Right.
started talking about it more. I started making it a thing. I started sharing my wins, but I really started sharing my losses and when I was feeling it. And so
Mhm.
I started to model the behaviors
Mhm.
of if you're in a depressive state, it's okay to feel that. But this is what you can do to help you get out of it too.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's
You
good.
know?
I want to interject what you were just saying.
Yeah.
You learn how to share your wins in addition to your losses in addition to the wins.
Mm-hmm.
We are excellent at showing our great parts of our lives, but when things aren't going well, we're on a retreat.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find us. And
Mm-hmm.
so those are the things actually that people need to see. They need to see that you're human. People ask me why I'm so vulnerable and why do I share certain things on the out here on social media. Half the time because it ain't nothing that I'm trying to hide. When you
Mm-hmm.
really think about what is it going to kill you to tell a real thought about how
Yes.
you're feeling, about what's going on in your life, it will
Mm-hmm.
not kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And the more that you exercise that part of yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
better you'll start to feel at revealing parts of yourself. And
Absolutely.
Blaise, you know this in session. Oftentimes we've had couples in session for years
Mm-hmm.
and they don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
This is the relationship that should be the most open, the most honest, the most revealing. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens, sometimes you share that thing, you built yourself up to think that you about to share, and I'm being vulnerable. You share and you get knocked down. I want
Mm-hmm.
you to sit with that. You
Mm-hmm.
share and you get knocked down. I want to connect that to a part of my life as
Mm-hmm.
well. And that part of my life is just recognizing that as a kid, you kind of talk down to, oh, but you'll be okay. Leave that alone. Yeah, just pray on it. Just do this, just do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about the little boy in me who rises up from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
and he's unsure of himself. He's afraid. He is concerned about building connections because he's worried somebody is going to do something to make him feel bad about himself. I tell people all the time, we all have those feelings from time to time, but you got to know your things that cause problems for you in your life, and you got to deal with them, and you have to have an arsenal of things to help you through those particular moments. I ain't gonna get stuff there. Stop there. So go on, man. I want you to talk about a little bit. Well, let me ask you this. I want to extend that a little bit. So was there anything that made you feel safe in talking about how you felt in your grief or anything connected to it?
When I was talking to my cousins,
okay,
my cousins are like my brothers.
Okay.
When I talked to them and they listened,
okay,
that made me feel amazing. Because they're some of the hardest, some of the toughest dudes that I know. You know, like they will give you the shirt off their back, but if you cross them, or if you try to bring harm to them or their family, it's a wrap. And like talking to them and calling them when I needed help, and they no questions, where you at? I'll be right there. You know, that was a big thing. It was super impactful for me. You know, just to have that. You know, that was just going through a divorce, which is grief in a different way.
It's grief. It's
now,
grief.
When I lost my brother was killed. That was a whole different side. That was a whole different battle and a whole different struggle. Because it wasn't just I had to think about my mom. I had to think about my grandma. I had to think about my nieces and my nephew and how my own children would be affected by that. And some days I didn't know the way out. Because my grief was anger. Like Danny, I was so angry. I was so angry that it was one of those things where I had to keep myself away from folks.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to bleed on them.
Let me ask, if you felt that way, I want you to raise a hand or put a heart or something in the box and let us know, because Blaise and I both know that we are not the only one who have felt anger with their grief. Keep going, Blaise. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it was like one of those things is like I didn't want to bleed on people and I didn't want to lash out on people because I wasn't mad at them. You know, they would catch it because they were there. It was misplaced. You know what I mean? And it wasn't meant for anyone close to me.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I had to find ways for me to get that out.
Right.
That's when it became me. Okay, I'm really going to get involved with this gym. I'm going to throw these weights through the roof. My heavy bag is going to catch hail. I'm going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was one of those things that got really tough. But once I didn't run away from the grief. I actually looked at it. I was like, hey, I see you. I acknowledge you, but I kind of need you to shut the hell up just for a little bit.
Come on.
You know, I need you to shut the hell up just a little bit because I need to be able to function. And you're stopping me from functioning. You're stopping me from I can miss my brother.
Yes.
I'm allowed to miss him. I'm allowed to be sad. I'm allowed to be angry, but not so much to the fact that you're stopping me from being a good dad.
Right.
Not to keep you. I don't want you to stop me from being a good therapist. I don't want you to stop me from being a good son.
Right.
And you're impeding all of those right now. Like I'm not going to forget you. I know that you're there. You're a huge part of me. You know, you're a huge part of me. And I acknowledge your presence, grief. I acknowledge you. I see you. I hear you, and I definitely feel you.
Right.
But I need you to shut the hell up.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Lee said, I wish I had somebody that would give me their shirt off their back in my family. I always been the protector and it gets old. Come on. That's true. You know, a lot of times when you're the giver and people are constantly withdrawing from you and there are no deposits, you keep giving, but the joy of giving, it started out with the joy of giving, but then we get into what I call resentful giving because I want people to treat me this way, but they're not treating me this way. They're possibly just not like you, but sometimes we keep giving with the hopes that they will one day understand that I need to be seen, I need to be heard, I need to be loved. You know, the only way you're going to get that is having those conversations.
Yes. Come on now.
Having those conversations. And I'll say this, ask a couple of times, but if you're dating or something like that, or it's a family member, you may need to limit your time with them if that's all you are to them. Ask for what you need. People don't just come here thinking like you think. I had a good therapist, Blaise, and the one thing he told me, he said, you have a special gift. Not everybody is insightful. They think about the whole picture. They don't notice everything like you do. And you and I both know we have to look for what you don't say.
And that's so hard.
Let me ask you this, Blaise. I took some notes on what you said. One of the things you talked about, your cousins who are like your brothers, you said they listen, right? They ain't try to fix you, right? They didn't try to tell you that you were it's gonna be all right. Okay. What did they do? They just sat there.
They sat there
and let you be.
That a lot of times what happens, like we would sit there, they would like so my brother would my brother used to make shine. And so we would sit there and we would drink and we would just like sit there and we would laugh. And we would just like that's what we would do. We would like sit and reminisce, and we would talk about all of the good times and the good things, and not just with my brother who was killed, but with us in general.
Exactly.
And that was one of those things. Is just like it wasn't them trying to fix it for me. It was them utilizing what they know and what they do, and they did it in their own way. It wasn't forceful. Right. You know, I think about like The Best Man, like the last episode of the series. I love that series.
I love that one too.
And when how they just showed up at Harper's house, like Harper was just sitting there and they ain't say nothing. They just broke out the card table. They brought food. They brought all the stuff, and they just started playing spades.
Exactly.
That's what it was like with my cousins. And I want to go back to something that I believe Lee said. You know, having that, you know, they wish to have somebody who would get a shot at their back in my family, but he was always the protector, and it gets old, right? I feel that, right? And someone said, you know, sometimes you got to tell people how you need to be treated, but at the same time, though, we also have to recognize and learn how to accept help when it's offered, because we're their protector. A lot of times we don't recognize when people are actually trying to protect us.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a lot of times we don't know how to receive it because we feel like that's what we're supposed to. That's us,
right?
You know? But there are people in our lives who recognize, oh shoot, Blaise needs help. Oh shoot, Danny needs help. Oh, because like they don't expect us to. until we're really down.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
we also have to be big enough to be like, I need help.
You just said something, Blaise. You said when you really down, we got to get really down before you see that I need help. And I think we also play a part in that too, because oftentimes we like to show up like we can handle everything that's happening in the world. Every problem. I told somebody today, I say I go to counseling so that they can check me sometimes. There's a lot of power in what we do, and if you're not careful, you become this person who you're giving all the advice, but who pours into you? Who tells you about your stank? I'm gonna just call it that.
That's
who
it.
tells you about yours? So for me, I like to go to my therapy session to get. I want them to tell me how I am. Tell me what I need to be doing. I want that kind of therapy, because you and I both know we can sit up there and say, I don't know what type of technique this is. I don't know what they it's a lot of I'm just in here talking, but we ain't getting it. And so I had to really go back and I had to check myself, and I had to ask myself, you ain't in there to be the therapist. You're in there to get some kind of understanding about you, some kind of support for your healing. And I think about this too. I was hurt that I was in my first couple of sessions, Blaise, that I was in there toe up like the ugly cry. And I was sitting there trying to keep it together, and then I just let it go. And all I did for probably the first 5 sessions, I just cried and talked.
Yes.
And people don't realize sometimes the tears are your words. Sometimes silence is your words. But you have to be okay in giving it that space. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, sometimes you need to make an appointment with grief. Especially if you're one of those people, you ain't gonna let it come visit you. You're gonna be fighting with it. No,
every time, like tooth and nail too. It's like knockdown, drag out.
Go make that appointment. We talking about 10, 15 minutes, whatever it needs to be to get to that particular place that we feel okay. And soon enough, the tears become less and less. Someone asked me, I love Dr. Nehemiah. He talks about the 3 R's of grief. And one of them is retelling the story. And they asked me, so I'm supposed to just tell the story? And I'm just like, yeah, I don't want you to just tell the ending part of the story. I want you to tell their whole life story, what they meant to you, how they mattered to you, the little quirky stories that only you and the other person knew. So I want you to tell the story until you see something new. It may be a window you didn't notice. You and I, we do EMDR, and I like EMDR because it really isolates different parts of the trauma. That's really what it does. And so I want to get into the trauma a little bit, Blaise. And so being an EMDR therapist, and when it comes to grief, how can EMDR help us? And would you just go ahead and tell them what it means and how it works?
All right. So EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's a technique that we use to help people deal with their trauma. A lot of times we get to a place where we feel like we are stuck, right? And a lot of times we are, it's like we're constantly in this state of fight or flight, freeze or fawn, and talking is only going to get you so far. Because a lot of times what we do is like we stop ourselves from actually going there, and it's like we put a roadblock up in our brain. So we put a roadblock up in our brain, so those thoughts and those memories and those feelings and stuff that we are trying to avoid, they don't get past that roadblock. So we stuff them down and stuff them down and stuff them down.
Exactly.
And we're like, oh, I'm good now. I don't got to deal with it. It don't bother me one bit. Knowing good and well, it affects it affects how you talk to people. It affects how you make your decisions. It affects how you show up at work. It affects how you show up at home. It affects how you show up in life. So what EMDR does, it takes those thoughts and those memories and those negative feelings associated with whatever memory that's happened. It allows you to process those thoughts like you would everything else. It doesn't. They don't stay in the back. They actually come to the forefront. We actually lifting up that roadblock a little bit. So those thoughts and those memories and those feelings get to pass through your neural pathways, and so you will process everything else. It's like, so if I hit my elbow on the wall, I was like, oh snap, I hit my elbow on the wall. It hurts. So I need to be sure that I watch where I swing my arm so I won't cause this much pain. I process that. I know why my arm hurts. I know why I did that. Right. So, but it's just like with EMDR, a lot of times we don't take those things, we don't process them at all. It's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. And it's and you're not. So in a nutshell, I tell people EMDR makes bad stuff less bad. We can't erase the memory from happening. We can't erase the event from happening. But what we can do is like EMDR takes that sting out of it, so it won't affect you as much as it usually does.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Thank you so much for sharing that and for being so thorough and sharing that, because I was skeptical, and you and I both know in the class you have to go through it yourself, and I was like, stuff ain't gonna do that.
Yeah.
I felt so much better after going through that process. And I'll tell you a funny story. So I was in session doing EMDR with a client, and at the end of the session, it's like, "What is this? I feel better, but is this voodoo?
Right.
I'm just like, no, this is EMDR is here to help you." But I was just thinking, and I wrote this down. I say, we're so skeptical, especially in our culture. We're so skeptical that somebody is trying to get over on us. And so I think part of what we have to do, like we were talking about earlier, is vulnerability is a muscle that needs to be worked. People don't realize, I don't just wake up vulnerable.
Right.
And so that's something I want to get into a little bit more. But what I want to go to, I want you to talk to me a little bit about, I know you do some groups and I do some groups, and I want to move this more to the place to where we talk about men and grief.
Okay.
And the uniqueness of men and grief and how we grieve and how we show up. And let's start out with, like, how do you form a group? Why do you form a group? What made you want to form that group?
So many different things. So, and if y'all see me fidgeting, it is because sometimes I get nervous when I talk. So this is how I deal with my anxiety when I'm talking and stuff. So just so y'all know, if y'all see me playing with this, it's not because I'm trying to ignore y'all. It's just like, oh, I'm trying to get my stuff together.
Yeah.
Yes. So forming groups. A lot of times there's a need, and a lot of men are looking and itching to actually talk about what's going on with them, but they don't know how or don't know where to actually do it. And a lot of times men especially are afraid to actually do it because they're afraid of being seen as weak. So trying to let these dudes know it's like, okay, this is a place where you can actually show up and you can be yourself. You can hang your cape up and pick it up when you leave, when you're doing the group. And again, my group took off because of my social media where I posted, because that's where I post everything. And it's just like, okay, let me check what this guy's talking about. And they look at what I'm saying. It's like, oh, this dude, he gets it. He taught, he's showing up and he's doing these things. And it's just like, okay. And let's be real. You've seen it. A lot of times they real hesitant. I don't know these dudes.
Exactly.
I don't know these other folk who they gonna go and tell my business. First of all, don't nobody know who you are.
They don't.
And don't nobody know who you are. And and it's just like, now, like, the unfortunate part about a virtual group is like, yeah, you can get them to sign paperwork and all that type of stuff and let them know, hey, this is confidential. we ain't got no control of what happens after.
We don't.
You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. But in person session, we got a little bit more freedom.
We do.
We can do that. It was like, yo, don't leave here.
Right.
But I think what men are recognizing, like when they get into that space, they recognize how sacred it is.
Yes.
And it's like they get to they recognize, like when they start talking, how many other brothers are dealing with the same exact thing. And that is like, oh, this is real. And it's just like, it's man, I was a part of something beautiful last two Sundays ago, and it was King's Corner is what it was called. Yeah. And just having brothers just talk about what was going on, talking on with them, and I allowed myself to be vulnerable in that space. And once I was vulnerable and showing up, and I let them know that it's okay. Like I wasn't afraid to be vulnerable in front of a bunch of groups, but especially in front of a bunch of black men. I was sitting in there and I was like, I broke down, and it's like it gave them permission to do the same thing.
Whoa!
It gave them the permission to be seen. It gave them permission to be heard, because they knew it wasn't going to be like, this is real. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of those things where men can recognize that, oh snap, other men see this, other men feel me, and they're not calling me weak. They're not thinking that I can't do this. They can't think I can't do that. And it's just like, we give them that permission to actually be human. Not superhuman, because they already superhuman before they get started. We'll allow them to be human. And that's one of those things that they start to see, and they keep coming back. You know what I'm saying? They keep coming back, because it's like, oh, this place, this is what I need. This is the brotherhood and the fellowship that I was looking for. And it's like we see people like, what's Kirk Franklin's show?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, you go into that show where you say, oh, Kirk Franklin's doing such a great thing, and he's doing all of this. Y'all do know people have been doing this before Kirk Franklin started doing it.
Tell us.
Are doing it on a smaller level, and it's not, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's great to see celebrities doing it, but we're not being like these celebrities. You know what I mean? They got different problems than what we got.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, when you see these people who are actually coming in and allowing their emotions to be there, and allowing themselves to be vulnerable, allowing themselves to open up. And Danny, I'm sorry, I'm getting so passionate about this.
Go for
it. You start to see how they start to help each other, because you don't know who's in the room who can be able to help another person that's in there. You know what I mean? I had one group, man, where one dude was trying to figure out something that's going on with his father, and he's trying to figure out the holistic way of trying to help his dad work through this stuff. It was a nurse practitioner in the group who was saying, hey, you could do this, you could do this, and you could do this to try to help him with this part right here. You know what I mean?
But I want to interject there, because I was thinking about what you just shared. A lot of times we're in these things by ourselves. I've looked at our group. We got mechanics, we got cooks, we have doctors, we have people who have lived, people who are young in the group. But it's something that you said, it is something that's sacred in that space when you really connect, and when you really get in there and you do the work, and you allow yourself to feel vulnerable. I always say it's like, you can be 23. I think our youngest is like 23 in the group. And then our oldest, I think, is 67. There's a commonality. We're trying to find our place in the world. We're trying to understand who we are in the midst of being what we need to be for other people sometimes. And there's this thin line that connects us all. And so we all walk along aside each other to make this space work for us. Tell me a little bit about what you know of guys and how we grieve.
Usually we usually grieve alone. Usually, usually no one knows about it. You know, it's there's there's some there might be some signs that you might do it, like for instance, like, you know, you might find that they are they might be drinking a little bit more than usual. You know, they might not be engaging in some of the activities that they would normally like to do. Or they're engaging in more risky behavior, so they won't think about the stuff that they're dealing with.
About to say.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's one of these things. It's just like we excuse me, we do such a good job of trying to hide it that we forget, you know, that it's like we lose ourselves. You know, it's like we lose ourselves of who we are because we don't want people to know. It's like we don't want people to feel sorry for us. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll feel sad for us and all this type of stuff, because again, I'm supposed to be protector. I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof all of the time. Nothing's ever supposed to bother me.
I like that voice.
You know? Look, that's my EMDR voice when I'm doing my calm place. So, but I mean, but that's the thing though, dude. It's just like, it's one of these things where, you know, we don't allow ourselves to be heard. You know, and it's just like, because a lot of times we don't. This is probably gonna hit some people in the gut.
Okay.
A lot of men think that that people don't care about them and what they feel.
Say that one more time.
A lot of men think that people don't care about what they think or how they feel.
I want people in the chat, if you know someone or you've heard someone, if you experienced this yourself, they feel like nobody cares. Put in there, nobody cares. That lets me know, like, sometimes we got to join in on this stuff. We've all been there. Put in the chat, nobody cares. And this is good. We want to change that narrative to, for me, like, I also need to know how to ask for help, because I'm not superhuman. I'm not bulletproof. But I also feel like when I'm overdoing it and it makes people feel like I don't need anything, I'm really self-sabotaging that those people who really want to help. But he got it. He good. He good job.
Yep.
And he's really not. He's just masking the pain. He's just masking the pain. I want the people in the audience to just sit with that. I really want you to just sit with that, because I think we all have been to that place to where nobody sees us. Nobody feels us in the way that we need to be felt. And I want to make this two-part. I want the part where there's the responsibility that people get to know you need to feel noticed and seen and heard and validated. But I also want you to go to yourself and see, like, which part of this am I hiding from myself that I'm not even giving to myself because I'm so busy just trying to keep this machine going. I'm so busy just trying to keep it going. Now, we're sitting with that. And I really want you to take this, and I want you to get a piece of paper. This is one of the activities we'll ask you to do. Take a moment to pause and write what we'll call a vulnerability letter. This isn't about being poetic. It's about being real. Write a short note to someone you trust, or even to yourself. And that note can be like one sentence that names what's heavy right now. Sometimes that's healing just right there. Naming what is heavy right now so that we can quit pretending. The things you've been carrying quietly, nobody knows about. Let the letter simply say, here's what's been hard. and I don't want to carry it alone anymore.
Mm.
Come on, somebody out there say, carry it alone anymore. I don't want to. I
Mm.
don't want to carry it alone anymore.
Mm.
Put in there alone. Put alone in the chat box. I need to know that you're hearing us. You can share it, you can keep it, or you can even speak it out loud tonight. What matters is you're giving yourself permission to be seen, to ask for support, and to remind yourself that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's how healing begins. It's how healing begins. I want you to think about that, and I really want you to start honoring yourself more. I really want you to think about the trauma, the exhaustion, those things that we have normalized for us. I got to show up a certain way. And Blaise, you know this, most of us are dealing with inner child wounds that have never been dealt with or properly brought up, because nobody said that. People just say that's normal. I am the person releasing you tonight to let you know what worked in the past is no longer working for you in your present. So you make new tools. That acting out, that going off, that being hideous, that being impatient, deal with your stuff tonight. Quit hiding behind that stuff. Quit hiding behind you got it together and you know you don't. I'm not saying go to the right people. Go to the right people. Okay, I got go to the right people. Okay, I saw somebody said alone. I don't want to carry it alone. This is Chelsea Hooten. I don't want to carry it alone, but I feel like a burden to others when I put my grief on them.
Go ahead on, because I know what I'm gonna say. Go ahead on, because that probably hit you the same way it hit me.
Oh, it does. It does. It does. Go ahead. I want you to go ahead.
So Chelsea, I want to ask you a question though. Is like, because I feel that, you know, a lot of times people we don't talk to people about our stuff because we don't want to feel like we're a burden. Did someone tell you we're a burden, or are you assuming that you're going to be a burden? Because a lot of times we're assuming that we're going to be a burden to somebody. But think about all those people who come to you and who come and talk to you about the stuff that they got going on, even though you got your own stuff going on. Do you ever tell them that they're a burden to you? Why do you think they're going to do that to you if you don't do that to them? You know what I mean? That's your grief trying to let you know that you're alone and you're by yourself. And you're not.
It's a lie.
It is.
It is a lie. And oftentimes, many of my clients know, everybody I work with pretty much knows about cognitive distortions. And cognitive distortions are these ideas that we have in our mind that say, this is how this is going to play out. It has to be this way. There's no other way that this can happen. I oftentimes tell people most of what needs to be changed, it has to start here. You've been thinking a dialogue, you've been talking a dialogue, you've been living a dialogue for all your life, and you want to snap out of it. Baby girl, bruh, it don't work like that. The same kind of a commitment that you've had sharing those negative words to yourself, you have to have the same kind of commitment and the intentionality to make sure that you're speaking positive to yourself and you are letting people know that you deserve to be seen. You deserve to be seen. Okay, I got off but that I just had to say that because I see it so often. Blaise, I want you to share with us about your book. You have an amazing book that you have, and I bought mine, y'all. You can't. I bought my book. Y'all gotta get Blaise's book. It is good. It is good. We can get it on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon. Okay. It's on Amazon. It's called Becoming the Dope Black Therapist. This is my story of how I got to where I am now. It talks about my childhood trauma. It talks about, you know, going like when it all started, you know, when I, you know, you talk about cognitive distortions. How many times I've told myself that I ain't worth it, and I ain't worth
Ooh.
nothing. You know what I'm saying? And where it came from,
Mhm.
and how I was never good enough for her. You know, all of these things that really show up in a lot of our lives. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um,
Can I interject real fast?
yeah,
And you
please
got
do.
to get you a team of cheerleaders. You got to get you a team of cheerleaders
Exactly.
who gonna speak into your life when you feel like you down in the dumps, you're the worst person in the world. I got people who speak into my life when I don't feel like I can do it. I deal with anxiety a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I know that I have a certain gift to speak to people, to help people with problems, but I'm not always that confident and that assured. But I let today take care of today. I let the next session take care of the next session.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything about something that I'm not in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we have to do better at that. I'm going to share with you the reason why we're having this today is grief,
Yes.
gray hairs, and growth. If you
Mm-hmm.
hadn't gotten this book, you missing out. I know I wrote it, but I know this is something that has really awakened me. Sometimes when you write your truth, it has a way of setting other people free. So I encourage you. It's on Amazon. You can go to my website. That's themessages.net/Danny Ross. That's Danny Ross. And that's themessages.net/Danny Ross. So get that tonight. Blaise, I want to allow you to give us some parting words related to how can we help others who are dealing with this overwhelming grief that they think that they're never going to see the light from.
Really and truly is you're not alone in this battle, and you don't have to figure out everything all at one time. You can take baby steps and move at your pace. Your grief is your grief. You don't have to move at anybody else's pace but yours. You don't have to do it. You don't have to move the way that people think you should be moving. You move the way that you need to move because it's you that's dealing with it. It ain't them. You know what I'm saying? So you're not alone in your struggles.
Right.
So don't try to fight it by yourself.
That's right.
Tell people what you need. Let them know, you doing too much. I don't need that right now. You know what I mean?
You can say that sometimes.
You can, and it's like you really do. And it's just like if there's a time where you just need somebody to come in and be quiet. Hey, I just need you to come in and sit down and shut up.
Come on.
I don't need you to say anything. I don't need you to fix it. I just need your presence.
Come on.
And then for the strong ones, and this is myself included. Learn how to accept it when it's offered.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
You have to learn how to accept it when it's offered. Because a lot of times we get so caught up in the fact that I'm the strong one. I got to figure it out on my own. I got to do this by myself. That we turn away from the help that people are actually trying to give us.
That's right.
So learn how to accept when it's offered. Move at your pace. Baby steps are still steps.
That's right. Thank you so much, Blaise, for being with us. One of my favorite therapists in the world, and I get to call him my friend. And I'm gonna do a shout out because I'm so proud of him. He's gone overseas. Where you spoke? Tell us real fast.
I spoke in Scotland, in Edinburgh, Scotland. Yeah,
I ain't want to lie. So I thought it was Scotland, but I didn't want to lie. So Blaise is doing great things out here. Go to his website. Tell us your website or where we can find you.
Follow me. If you go to my Instagram, it's _dope black therapist. And my website is www.thedopeblackTherapist.com. If you are looking for some speakers, or you look for a speaker, you're looking for a workshop. If you know men who are looking to join a group, I do a virtual group. We're starting back up in November. I had to wait till my son's football season was over with, but we're about to pick back up in November. So, hit hit me up. That's all the information is there. If you're EMDR looking to get your hours and consultation, you can book me for group or individual consultation as well. So all of this stuff is on the website.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm going to take Blaise up on that for consultations, because there's another level in EMDR where you're getting gooder and gooder. So before we wrap up tonight's episode of Grief, Gray Hairs, and Growth, let's take a breath and sit with what we've shared. I want to thank my special guest, Blaise Harris, who's phenomenal. I want to give a shout out to my production person and staff, which is Project Smith Productions. If you need somebody to run things and you can just focus on your show and produce the show, check out Project Smith Productions. It is amazing. You know, Blaise reminded us that grief doesn't always look like tears. It can show up as silence, exhaustion, or the pressure to stay strong. And we've talked about how real healing starts when we let others in and choose to show up with honesty and care. If tonight's conversation moved you, keep that energy going. My book, Grief, Gray Hairs, and Growth, it dives deeper into how we transform the pain into purpose. And Blaise's Becoming That Black Dope Therapist is a powerful look as well. Finding healing through service and storytelling and truth. This Saturday, I want you to join me for my show, and it's Grief, Gray Hairs, and Growth. It's a workshop, and we're going to do activities similar to this that let us explore other ways that we can deal with grief and come up with some more strategies. I'd love to see you connect with us. It's going to be hands-on. We'll communicate some storytelling, connect, grow together, and it's only $47. So go to my website and get that information. But I really want you to be a part of this, and what you'll gain is priceless. Again, thank you for your time. I so appreciate you being with us tonight and for sharing with us. And I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow. We're going to talk about tomorrow's spirituality and faith and how we deal with faith when we're grieving. So if you're a person of faith, I want you to come out tonight and hear from my good friend who's a therapist and he's a pastor. And we'll talk more about that. All right. Thank you for your time. Have a great night.